Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm titling this video, Dear Blackmagic, My Dream Camera of 2022. So I put together a list of what I think would be an amazing camera for Blackmagic to make and what I would want to see in that camera. And I want to just first of all state that I'm not a camera expert. I am a user, but I do not know the first thing about actually making a camera. So some of these things may be logistically unfeasible and I just don't know it, or they physically can't be put in it, but this is just what I think would be cool. And also I have a monitor right here, so I'm looking at myself. I'm gonna try to look at the camera, and then I have my laptop in my lap here, so I'm probably gonna be looking like 3 different places at once. So, but let's go ahead and get into this. First of all, I have the externals of the camera. First of all, form factor. This is what I think is the most needed change in Blackmagic's lineup of cameras. You have the Ursa Mini, which in my opinion is just too big and the body style is kind of outdated. And you have the pocket cinema cameras, which are supposed to be pocket sized, but they're actually the size or a little bit larger than DSLRs, and they're in the SLR body style. And I hate it because they're super wide and they're hard to mount on gimbals. They're a little easier if you've used DSLRs from Canon or Sony in the past. If you use DSLRs from like Canon or Sony or Nikon or any of those companies in the past, it's easy to kind of get into this form factor. I want to move to a cube form factor, you know, like most cinema cameras, Aries and Reds. Red just released the Komodo, and even probably the main competitor of Blackmagic, the Zcam. They are cube-shaped form factors. They are way easier to mount on gimbals, and they're easier to rig out also. One of the greatest things about the pocket cinema cameras is the large touchscreen on the back. It's probably one of the greatest LCD screens of any camera. It's so awesome to use. It doesn't tilt or anything, so you kind of have to have a monitor, but it's amazing. What I think they should do is kind of like the Red Komodo. Now I'm going to be referencing both Red Komodo and Zcam in this video because I think they're the two most similar cameras to what I'm looking for. So I think they should do what basically Red Komodo did, is have a pretty large touchscreen on the top. That screen looks great, and have of course, the Blackmagic menu system that's in every other camera. Their menu system is the easiest to navigate, and I love it. I think it's amazing. And then put the record button on top, like Zcam. Have a couple of function buttons, maybe physical control knobs for audio gain. I'll get into audio a little bit later. But physical knobs for audio would be really awesome. Probably not feasible though, because that would take up a lot of space on the camera, but you know, we'll see. As far as rigging it out goes, 1/4 20s and 3/8 along the camera body, making it easier to rig and add cages, or if you want to just keep it small, you can still add some accessories. One of the biggest things for me is lens mount. I think my ultimate goal, what I think would be really awesome, is just to pretty much copy Zcam and have a super small flange distance, so you can allow for interchangeable mounts of really any variety. You could do Sony E, EF, PL, hell, even like Nikon F mount, because those lenses are pretty good and easy to find, and just sell different interchangeable mounts. I think that would be really cool. If this is not possible, then I guess just use the EF mount, because it's pretty standard, easy to adapt, and you can find a lot of great EF lenses in cinema glass. Recording media, I would say go for CFast cards. Dual card slots would be awesome for those. SD cards would be nice, but not a necessity. I like the ability to use the SD cards on the pocket cinema cameras for just things that I don't need as much horsepower for, if I just want to record like 1080 or whatever. But SD cards, you can't really find cinema cameras with SD card slots anyway, so. But my main thing is keep the USB-C for recording to external media like the Samsung T5s. I love those things. That's what I'm recording to right now. I have 2 of them, and it's just so convenient. So I definitely say keep the USB-C, and of course you can also use it for software updates. Battery, I would say like Zcam, use Sony L series batteries, the MPF batteries. That's what I run this camera off of. They're super cheap, and they have a lot of juice, and they're really great. It would be really cool to have maybe like dual slots on the back, kind of like the Canon batteries on Komodos. They have dual slots, so it'd be cool to have like dual MPF slots and them also be hot swappable. That'd be really cool. If not, just add 1, and also allow use for L series to V mount adapters, much like Zcam, so you can put a V mount battery on there if you want to. But I just love the L series batteries because they pack a lot of juice, and they'd be great for gimbals and mounting it in smaller places, so that'd be great. Ports, as far as ports go, Full-size XLR would be nice, but it's a small camera. They're not going to be able to put that in there. So I would say 2 mini XLRs, like on the Pocket 6K Pro, or just 1 mini XLR. I get that it's a small camera, and you may not be able to put that in there. 2 mini XLRs would be awesome. Like I said earlier, having physical gain knobs, that would be really cool. Keep HDMI for sure. HDMI isn't the greatest. SDI is definitely better, but SDI is really expensive, and the monitors are a little more hard to find. HDMI is more standard for prosumer level stuff, but SDI, that'd be fine too. I mean, it's more professional. I think that I probably need to make the switch anyway, so either or on that. I have a standard headphone jack for monitoring audio, and throw in maybe like a 2-pin power port like on this. It's not the greatest port, but just something so you can run ground power into it. Okay, now let's move on to the internals of the camera, what I think would be great. As far as the sensor goes, I know a lot of people would say full frame, but I don't think full frame is a necessity. I think full frame is pretty overrated, to be honest. Super 35 is fine. Hell, you could even put in the same sensor as the 6K, and I'd be fine. I think the image quality out of the 6K is amazing. The image out of the 4K is amazing. Use the same sensor as the Pocket 6K and 6K Pro. That'd be fine with me. Like I said, I don't think full frame is really a necessity. At least 13 stops of dynamic range, 15 or more would be nice. As far as resolutions go, all that I ever use is up to 4K DCI. We're moving into a new era, you know. There's the 8K cameras like the Sony A1 and the Red V Raptor, and then Ursa, and then there's also the Ursa Mini 12K, which 12K resolution is just insane. I think that they should just keep with the 6K for now. I think they should do up to 6K recording, because 6K still hasn't even really fully been integrated into, it's not as common as 4K yet. You could do like an updated one later, like a, you know, cinema camera 8K, have the 6K first, then an 8K, then a 12K maybe, but I think the 6K is fine for now. Codecs, of course, B-RAW and ProRes like usual, but I would love the ability, I think on the 6K and 6K Pro, I think you can only record 6K in B-RAW, you can't do 6K ProRes. I love ProRes personally because I haven't made the switch to DaVinci Resolve yet, so I can't really do B-RAW. So I would love the ability to shoot 6K ProRes. That'd be really awesome. Frame rates, 120 FPS and 4K would be sweet. 240 and 1080, that would be awesome, but frame rate is not a big deal for me. If not, just do 4K 60 and 1080, 120 as usual. You know, it's fine. So that's about it. There's a couple other things I added on here. If they do add an EF mount, it'd be great to have like a beta version of some Blackmagic autofocus. They haven't introduced autofocus ever. That'd be cool because of course Red added autofocus in the Komodo and the V Raptor, and it's pretty decent. So if Blackmagic could add some sort of autofocus, that would be cool, but I'm not really gonna say that's a necessity because I pull manual focus all the time. All my lenses are manual focus anyway, so that's just an if. And another if is global shutter. I think the Komodo has global shutter, and I want to say the V Raptor has global shutter as well. Global shutter would be cool, but not a necessity. Once again, I think that rolling shutter is just something that you kind of have to deal with. That's about it for my dream camera from Blackmagic. I'd love to see this in 2022. I would definitely buy it. I want that form factor. I want the cube. That's all I need. That's about it. That's all I had to say. Blackmagic, if you're listening, please, please, please make this camera. I think it would be really awesome, and it would take the camera world by storm, much like every other release you've had has. Comment below with what you would like to see in a future Blackmagic camera, or any camera for that matter, and I will see you guys in the next video.